we are. That cannot be easy, to open up the newspapers and read stories like that.
No, and I think up until the latter stages of the summer, until he scored the 100 and the double century, I thought his time was well and truly up. He hadn't scored a century in 2 years, basically, and as a number 4 batsman, or as a number 3 as he used to be, you've got to score runs. So that was my argument. I was knocked from pillar to post about it because there's a lot of people out there who love Ricky Ponting. I'm one of them, but he was out of form, he was terribly out of touch, his footwork is all at sea again in the one-day game, and there's no doubt yesterday selectors got it right. They had to axe him from the one-day squad. Now, whether he's done enough, and I thought he's done enough in the latter stages of the summer to be retained for the West Indian tour, I don't argue that. Will he get to our summer? Will he get to the Ashes next year? I think that's, if he does decide today to continue, I think that's a really tall order for him to get to England next year. And who knows, in the next 5 minutes or so, he might decide, after what happened yesterday, I've had enough. I want to be with the kids. I want to be with Rihanna, my wife, and let's move on with life.
Jim, in the next 10 years, when the kids Google the words Ricky Ponting, how is it going to come up? How will he compare to past Aussie cricketing greats?
He deserves to be mentioned in the same breath, Larry, as Mark Taylor, Steve Waugh, and statistically, as I mentioned before, he is our most successful captain in Test cricket ever. I don't know, he's not in the Don's bracket, no one is. Sir Donald Bradman's a cut above. But certainly when you look at his record, and some people would say he's been very fortunate with his record because he's had the likes of Glenn McGrath and Shane Warne, but he's still captained that team and done a very, very good job as the captain, also as the batsman. So I think certainly he'll be remembered fondly, but certainly, and Ricky Ponting, I believe, is now making his way up the SCG from the dressing room. Let's just take these live pictures on the morning show. Ricky Ponting, accompanied by Philip Pope, the media officer for Cricket Australia. James Sutherland, the chief executive, is behind him, and that's his manager as well that's joining him. He's about 2 minutes, or about a minute away from entering the room, and here he walks. Morning, gentlemen. Morning, Rick. We're live on Channel 7, Ricky. Do you want to wave or...? No worries, mate. Good luck.
That's clearly a beautiful relationship you have there, Jim. Trusting.
I think he might be contracted with the other mob. I think that's why he was a bit like, oh, maybe we shouldn't talk to you, Jim. I'm going, no worries, Rick. Just.
What's his body language telling you, Jimmy? What are you reading from his body language?
Oh, I think he looks. Look at you, Larry. He looks pretty relaxed, and I must say, I think whatever decision he makes right now, he believes is obviously the right one. To me, and that's probably why he wasn't that friendly with me, to me, I think the time's right. But as I said, he's just walking down now. I'm watching him walk into the auditorium here. About to walk in. So, guys, we might hand over to you very shortly, and we might throw to that press conference live here on the morning show.
History will reflect that you almost saw it here first on 7. Ricky Ponting enters. Media from all over the world very, very interested in what this man has to say. So let's now go live to the press conference and the man in the spotlight, Ricky Ponting.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. Thanks, Ricky. And thank you to the media. I know it was an advisory late last night. Just going to throw it open to the floor to start with. There's plenty of time for questions, so you'll all get a go. Please put your hands up. Tell us who you are, where you're from. Ken, do you want to kick us off?
What have you got us here for today, Ricky? What are you going to tell us?
Well, I think you know most of the reason. I think with John Inverarity announcing the one-day squad for the next couple of games, you know, obviously I've been left out of that and dropped from the one-day international team, which I'm disappointed about. But life goes on for me. I totally understand the reasons behind me being left out of the side. My performances over the last 5 games haven't warranted me staying in the team. So I've been left out of that, and John's made it pretty clear the reasons why and the direction that they want to take with the one-day team going forward.
You will continue playing Test cricket?
I'll continue playing Test cricket, yeah, and I'll continue playing cricket for Tasmania as well. So, you know, I think it proves to myself and everybody else that I'm still capable of dominating Test cricket as I did in the last series against India, and I'm looking forward to getting back and playing the last couple of Shield games for Tasmania this year, and then heading to the West Indies hopefully with some runs under my belt.
But Ricky, you've had lean patches before in the one-day arena. Did they pull the trigger too early in this instance, do you think? Were they a bit premature?
Oh, look, at the end of the day, I'm my best selector. If I'd have scored runs in these 5 games, then obviously I wouldn't have been dropped. So I've left the door open for them to make the decision that they've made yesterday. That's the way I'm looking at it. Yeah, the reason I'm disappointed about getting dropped is of how much I actually love representing my country and playing cricket for Australia. You know, I've got no bitterness at all at what's happened. I totally understand the reasons why, and you know, the national selection panel are looking forward to building a team for the next World Cup, of which, you know, right at the moment and probably going forward, I'm not part of their plans, which I understand.
But it does thin out your involvement at the top level, doesn't it? You're going to have sporadic international cricket now. Is that going to hamper you?
That's something I have to manage. I've had a little bit of a chance to think about that over the last 12 hours. You know, this is all pretty rushed and something I've never really had to think much about before, but as international cricketers, you're always trying to find the best way to prepare for each game that you play, and quite often it's not always perfect preparation. So, you know, once now with the 2 Shield games that I've got before the West Indies tour, it's important that I spend as much time as I can around the Tasmanian team and get the training required and preparation required to play those games well, and then go to the Caribbean. And once again, when we get back from there, it'll be back into a pre-season, maybe even with my club team, Mowbray Cricket Club, back in Tassie. They might see a bit more of me as well, and but a pre-season with Tasmania to make sure I'm ready to go at the start of the next Australian summer.
Tony, Ricky, so does this mean that you're not effectively retiring for one day?
So, Jim, there you have it. He did call a press conference to say, I am sticking around.
Yeah. It was bizarre. I mean, the more I think about it, I go, OK, we know that his one-day career is basically over. But certainly we sort of predicted that, didn't we? I had a feeling that he had unfinished business, but I can't wait for him to walk out, actually, Larry, and walk down the pathway again when I can actually send him all our well wishes and wish him all the best for the future. But in all seriousness, I think he'll know when the time's right. I think a lot of us thought the time was right. He obviously thinks he's still got the hunger and the desire. But as I said, he's got 3 tests in the West Indies in April. Then he's got about a 7-month break, and then he must regroup for South Africa and also Sri Lanka. And England is a long way away next year. So, as I said, well done to Ricky Ponting, a true champion, guys.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. And let's not forget Kylie's prediction at the top of the show that there's no way he'd hold a press conference to say that he's going on. I think it's important that we keep that in mind. Thank you, Jim.
I asked.
Thank you, buddy.
I'm moving right along now. I'm moving right along. I'm on a roll.
Well,
I'm 24 ahead.